listeners, and welcome to yet another episode of the Nigerian Football Weekly podcast with me, your host, Olu Oke. Today is episode 64. Apologies for the slight delay in bringing this one to you. Today is Friday, the 2nd of September, so we have quite a lot of football to go through. However, our Nigerian players have been doing their thing, so it should be a fun episode to go through. So let's get into it without any further ado, starting with the Premier League as usual. So the top performing Super Eagle player in terms of their club's league position at the moment is Joe Aribo. His Southampton team are now 9th in the Premier League. Last week, Tuesday, he played 30 minutes in a 3-0 win over Cambridge United in the League Cup. And then he started on Saturday lunchtime as Southampton lost 1-0 to Manchester United. And then earlier this week on Tuesday, he came off the bench for 31 minutes as Southampton came back from 1-0 to beat Chelsea 2-1 at home. Next up for them, they play Wolverhampton away in one of the 3 p.m. kickoffs tomorrow. Franco Yeka's Brentford, he finally started a game in the 2-0 win over Colchester away last week Tuesday in the League Cup. And then he was on a new sub over the weekend in a 1-1 draw against Everton at home. And then thankfully, at least he got some minutes on Tuesday night and he came off the bench for 23 minutes in their 1-1 draw away to Crystal Palace. So at the moment, they're 11th in the league, and next up for them, they play Leeds United at home with another 3 p.m. kickoff tomorrow. Tyrone Awoniyi and Emmanuel Dennis and Nottingham Forest. Last week, Tuesday, Emmanuel Dennis made his debut for Nottingham Forest in a 3-0 win over Grimsby away, and he also got an assist in the game. In terms of league games, Awoniyi came on as a sub for that game against Grimsby. And then over the weekend, they lost 2-0 to Tottenham in the 4 p.m. kickoff on Sunday, with both of them coming off the bench. Dennis came on for 22 minutes and Awoniyi came on for 16 minutes as they lost that game. And then earlier this week on Wednesday, they both came off the bench for 38 minutes in a 6-0 loss to Manchester City. If I'm being honest, I'm quite baffled why Emmanuel Dennis doesn't start. Like, when I look at Nottingham Forest team, and I know they've signed like 20 plus players, but Emmanuel Dennis is comfortably the best attacker they've got. Like, I have no doubt about that. Remove bias aside. So it's quite strange that they keep playing Brennan Johnson or Surridge or... I don't get it. Anyway, Emmanuel Dennis needs to start. I'm sorry. I don't know what's happening, but let's see what happens over the weekend. They're also playing a 3 p.m. kickoff on Saturday against Bournemouth at home. So let's see how they get on. Probably the best performing Super Eagle in the Premier League so far this season has been Alex Iwobi. Even though Everton are currently 17th, he did get an assist in a 1-0 win over Fleetwood Town last week, Tuesday, in the League Cup. And then he started on Saturday in a 1-1 draw to Brentford away. And then on Tuesday night, he assisted Anthony Gordon's goal in a 1-1 draw away to Leeds United. He's having a great season personally. Like, honestly, his remontada has been incredible. Like, Everton fans love him now. I'd like to see him even play as a number 6 or 8 for the Super Eagles, because he's been playing as a roaming number 6/8 for Everton so far this season. So I'll be intrigued to see what happens in the September international window when we play against Algeria. Next up for them, though, early kickoff tomorrow is the Merseyside derby. Everton versus Liverpool at Goodison Park. So let's see if Frank Lampard and Iwobi could whip up some magic against Liverpool, who are finally beginning to show some form after their 2-1 last gasp winner over Newcastle on Wednesday. Kelechi Iheanacho and Wilfred Ndidi, it's not looking good for Leicester, honestly. They're currently bottom of the Premier League. They luckily beat Stockport 3-1 away on penalties last week Tuesday in the League Cup. Ndidi was rested in that game and Kelechi started. And then Ndidi started the game on Saturday as they lost 2-1 to 10-man Chelsea. Kelechi came on for the final 7 minutes. And then yesterday on Thursday, Ndidi started at centre-back in a 1-0 loss to Manchester United with Kelechi coming on for the final 15 minutes. Honestly, it's not looking good at all. Like, Vardy looks like he's lost his mojo as well. So let's see what happens. And it doesn't get any easier for them. Their next game is Brighton away on Sunday at 2 p.m, who've started the season really, really well. In terms of other fixtures from the Premier League, in terms of Game Week 4 results from the weekend, we saw Brighton beat Leeds United 1-0. Liverpool beat Bournemouth 9-0 on Saturday as well. Man City beat Crystal Palace 4-2 after being 2-0 down. And Arsenal beat Fulham 2-1 on Saturday. In terms of Sunday results, we saw West Ham beat Aston Villa 1-0. And we saw Wolverhampton and Newcastle draw 1-1. And then we also had midweek fixtures. Honestly, we've been spot for football this week. So on Tuesday, we saw Fulham beat Brighton 2-1. Mitrovic continues to play excellently well. Crystal Palace drew 1-1 with Brentford at home. Zaha scored an amazing goal in that game, man. He's looking so good. Someone's going to tap him up as a free transfer next summer. Leeds United, I've called this one already. Leeds drew 1-1 with Everton. Southampton beat Chelsea 2-1. On Wednesday, we saw Bournemouth and Wolves play out a 0-0 draw. Arsenal beat Aston Villa 2-1, courtesy of Martinelli and Gabriel Jesus. You know, my Brazilians making me happy. West Ham drew 1-1 with Tottenham at the Olympic Stadium. And Liverpool beat Newcastle 2-1 with the last gasp Fabio Carvalho winner, as I mentioned. In terms of the Premier League games to watch out for this weekend, Everton-Liverpool kick-off Saturday lunchtime. And then 3 p.m. games, there's quite a few this week. Brentford at home to Leeds United. Nottingham Forest at home to Bournemouth. Newcastle at home to Crystal Palace. You'd expect Newcastle to win that one, although Crystal Palace are probably one of the tougher opponents they would have faced at home so far this season. Tottenham host Fulham. That should be an interesting one, even though you think Tottenham should win. Wolverhampton host Southampton as well. And then we see Chelsea and West Ham play at Stamford Bridge in a 4 p.m. kickoff. I'm not sure why it's 4 p.m., but I'm sure we'll hear why. In the 5:30 p.m. kickoff, Aston Villa host Manchester City. It's looking very, very peak for Gerrard, man. They've not looked good this season at all. I think they've got just 1 point all season. And they're the one team that lost to Bournemouth, so it's not looking good. And then on Sunday, Brighton host Leicester at 2 p.m. And then the big clash of the weekend, 4:30, Manchester United, Arsenal, Barclays Heritage, going back to Old Trafford. And I'm hoping that we could see Arsenal extend their wins to 6 from 6. We know Man United have looked good. They've won their last 3 games now under Ten Hag, and they're beginning to find some form. So that should be a tasty game. First against fifth, looking forward to that. Moving on to Serie A, Victor Osimhen started in a 0-0 draw away to Fiorentina for Napoli on Sunday night. He did have a goal disallowed in that game due to VAR and offside. And he also started on Wednesday in a disappointing 1-1 draw for Napoli at home against Lecce. They're now 4th after consecutive draws, and they've got a big game coming up tomorrow night away against Lazio in the Olimpico. Ademola Lookman's Atalanta are currently top of Serie A. He started and played for 45 minutes in a 1-0 win away to Verona on Sunday, and then he came off the bench for 38 minutes yesterday night in a 3-1 win over Torino. So it's all looking good for Gasperini and Atalanta, and long may it continue. Next up for them, they play newly promoted Monza away on Monday night. Ola Aina, thankfully, he's also had a remontada this season. He's been starting all the games for Torino, even though it's at left wing back, which shows his versatility. He did get a yellow card in a 2-1 win over Cremonese away on Saturday. And then he had a bit of a shocker last night. He gave away a pen in their 3-0 loss to Atalanta. But next up for them, they play Lecce at home on Monday night. So probably a good opportunity to right some of those wrongs from yesterday's game. Isaac's success at Udinese, he's been coming off the bench lately. He did come off the bench Friday last week in a 2-1 win over Monza away. And then he also played 40 minutes off the bench in a 1-0 win at home against Fiorentina earlier this week. At the moment, Udinese are now 9th in the league. Next up for them, they play AS Roma at home on Saturday night. Taran Ebuehi at Empoli, he came on for the final 26 minutes in a 1-1 draw away to Lecce on Sunday. And then he was an unused sub on Wednesday in a 1-1 draw against Verona at home. Let's see if he could force his way into the starting lineup for Empoli, because he can't be getting caught up if he's on the bench for Empoli. I'm sorry. Next up for them, though, they play Salernitana away on Monday night. There's quite a few Monday night games Serie A this week. I'm not really sure why. And then finally, Cremonese, David Okereke and Cyril Dessers continue to start as the strike force or partnership for the newly promoted team. Cyril Dessers got an assist on Saturday in their 2-1 loss to Torino. And then David Okereke scored a consolation goal on Wednesday night as they lost 3-1 to Serie A heavyweights Inter Milan. It was a really, really good goal as well. David Okereke is having a pretty good season, even though he plays for such a, to be honest, let's just call a shit team. But long may his goal scoring records continue. And Dessers still looking for his first goal for his new club, but he did look sharp in the highlights I watched against Torino. Next up for them, they play Sassuolo on Sunday in an 11:30 a.m. kickoff, so playing nice and early. In La Liga, Samuel Chukwueze scored last week, Thursday, in a 2-0 win over Hajduk Split away in the Europa Conference League qualifiers. And then he came off the bench for 48 minutes on Sunday as they drew to Getafe away. Next up for them, they play Elche at home on Sunday in a 5:30 p.m. kickoff. They're currently 5th in the league at the moment. As for Umar Sadiq scored the winner for Real Sociedad as they beat Sevilla 2-1 on Saturday. I mean, it was his second goal for Almeria. He's looking really, really sharp. And then guess what? Yesterday on deadline day, it got confirmed that he's moved to Real Sociedad to become their replacement striker for Alexander Isak, who's moved to Newcastle. So we wish Sadiq all the best, and we will touch on Real Sociedad's progress going forward. Moving on to League One, and probably my star boy of the week, Terem Moffi scored a double brace in 2 games. So over the weekend, he scored a brace. He dribbled the goalkeeper for 1 and scored a penalty as Lorient beat Clermont Foot 2-1 at home on Sunday afternoon. And then on Wednesday, he scored yet another brace. However, they did lose 5-2 away to Lens, who look really, really good. So 4 goals in 2 games. Literally, he's the 4th top scorer in the league right now. And it looks like he may be on his way to recovering some of that 20/21 season form. Next up for them, they play newly promoted Ajaccio away on Sunday. So hopefully Terem Moffi could add to his goal scoring streak. And then Moses Simon's Nantes, they are currently 10th in Ligue 1. He did get injured over the weekend after scoring in a 3-1 win over Toulouse. And then he didn't play on Wednesday as they drew 1-1 away to Strasbourg. Next up for them, they play PSG at home tomorrow. But it's very, very likely Moses Simon will miss that game because he's been ruled out for 2 weeks. And then finally, in terms of the top 5 leagues in the Bundesliga, Kevin Akpoguma's Hoffenheim are now 4th. The great thing to see is he's now been starting games. He put in another good performance over the weekend in a 1-0 win over Augsburg at home. And next up for them, they play Dortmund away later tonight. So that should be a tasty one. 4th against 5th. And then Chidera Ejike started for Hertha Berlin, who are currently 2nd from bottom in the Bundesliga, as they lost 1-0 to Borussia Dortmund at home on Saturday. Although he did have some lively moments. And next up for them, they play Augsburg at home on Sunday at 2:30 p.m. So that's it in terms of the top 5 leagues for the week. Now moving on to the non-top 5 leagues, starting with the Portuguese league as usual. Zedu Sanusi's Porto shockingly lost 3-1 to Rio Ave, who just got promoted for this season on Sunday night. So they've now dropped to 3rd in the league with 3 wins and 1 loss from their first 4 games. Sanusi did start the game though, as expected. Next up for them, they played Gil Vicente away on Saturday night. And then Xavier Godwin's Casapia have started the season really well. They're currently 7th in the league. He played really well on Monday night as they beat Gumaresh 1-0 away. Next up for them, they play Aruca at home on Sunday afternoon. So hopefully we'll see Godwin get a goal in that game. In the Dutch Eredivisie, Calvin Bassey started on Sunday night as Ajax beat Utrecht away 2-0. Next up for them, they play newly promoted Camber at home on Saturday afternoon. So we'd expect Bassey to start again in that game alongside Jurian Timber. In the Belgian league, one of the things to call out is a lot of our players are playing for the best clubs in Belgium. So that's good to see. So we saw Rafael Onyedika, who was previously at FC Michelin in Denmark. He's now signed for Club Brugge. This happened a few days ago. And he could make his debut tonight for his new club against Cercle Brugge at home. And then also, Club Brugge are in the Champions League. So we have yet another Nigerian playing in the Champions League in Rafael Onyedika. Mind you, he was on the target list for AC Milan. So maybe this may be a stepping stone move if he can really prove himself. In terms of the Champions League, Club Brugge play Bayer Leverkusen at home on Wednesday. But first of all, let's see if he makes his debut tonight in that game against Cercle Brugge. Alhassan Yusuf continues to go from strength to strength for Royal Antwerp. He has to be playing games for the Super Eagles. I'm sorry. He's doing way too well to not be called, considering our current options. He started again in the 2-1 win over Ghent away on Sunday. They're now top of the league. And he also started on Wednesday night in a 4-2 win at home against Union St Gilloise. Next up for them, they play Westerlo at home on Sunday as they'll look to stretch their lead at the top of the table. Polonaciu's Genk are now 2nd in the league. He did come off the bench for 23 minutes on Saturday as they beat RFC Serang 4-0. He's got a real battle on his hands though to win his place back for club and country, because he's not starting at all for Genk, which is quite interesting considering how many goals he scored in the 2021 season. Next up for them, they play STVV at home on Saturday. Ishak Abdul Razak, who plays for Anderlecht, he was not in the squad for the last 2 games for the team, including a 2-1 loss to Union St Gilloise away on Sunday and a 1-0 loss to Ghent at home on Thursday night yesterday. Next up for them, they play Oud Heavily Leuven at home on Sunday lunchtime. So let's see if he's involved in the squad. And on a positive note, Victor Boniface scored his first goal for Union St Gilloise in their 2-1 win over Anderlecht on Sunday. And then he also got an assist on Wednesday night in their 4-2 loss to Real Antwerp. They're currently 6th in the league. So all our players playing between the teams ranked 1st to 7th, which is positive to see. Next up for them, they play Zulte Waregem away on Sunday night. In the Czech Republic, we saw Peter Olainka start and Moses Uzo was on the bench as an unused sub in a 4-0 win over Brno away on Sunday. And then on Wednesday night, the positions got flipped. Moses Uzo started and scored in a 6-0 win over Teplice, while Peter Olainka was an unused sub. Next up for them, they play Slovako away on Sunday, 6 p.m. In Denmark, Akikume Amo and Paul Mukaru's Copenhagen qualified for the Champions League. Congratulations to them. They secured a 0-0 draw at home against Trabzon, away to Trabzonspor, which meant they qualified 2-1 on aggregate for the Champions League. So we look forward to seeing them play in the Champions League next week. But before that, Amo was an unused sub and Paul Mukaru came on for 35 minutes in a 3-1 loss to FC Nordjylland away on Sunday. So their league form is a bit shaky, but maybe just because of the Champions League. Next up for them, though, they play later today at 6 p.m. At home against Silkeborg. So let's see how they get on in that one. In Croatia, Chidizia Waziem's Hajduk's play are out of Europe after they lost their second leg to Villarreal 2-0 last week, Thursday. Awaziem did start the game, and he also started over the weekend in a 2-1 loss to NK Osijek on Sunday. Next up for them, they play Slaven Belupo at home on Sunday. In the Turkish league, Henry Ekuru and David Akintola's Adana Demirspor are 3rd in the league. They both started in a 1-0 win over Umraniyespor, who got promoted this season, at home on Saturday. Next up for them, they play Hatayspor away on Sunday. Bright Osai Samuel for Fenerbahce, he did start in their 4-1 win over Austria Vienna last week, Thursday, to qualify for the Europa League. And then he played 45 minutes on Monday night in a 1-0 loss to Konyaspor away. Next up for them, they play Kayserispor at home on Saturday night tomorrow. And then Super Eagles captain Ahmed Musa's Fatih Karagümrük, he came off the bench and got a yellow card in a 4-1 win over Ankara Gucu at home on Saturday. And next up for them, they play Sivasspor away tomorrow night. Starboy of the week can only be Terem Moffi. I mean, when you score back-to-back braces for a team like Lorient, who are not the best team in Ligue 1 by any stretch of the imagination, although they're currently 2nd, it has to be celebrated. I mean, rounding up the keeper and scoring a penalty is always a good sign against Clermont Foot at home on Sunday. And then he scored a brace on Wednesday, even though they lost the game 5-2. So long may this good form continue, and shout out to Terem Moffi for being the star boy of the week. In terms of other news, Anthony Nakame has signed for Saudi Arabian club Al Fayha. I mean, go get your money, mate. I mean, after all he did for Trabzonspor, it's time for him to secure his family. He's 33 years old, so it's probably the last big contract he'll ever get. So fair play to him. And then also the Chan Super Eagles, so home-based Super Eagles, they lost 2-0 to Ghana over the weekend in the qualifiers for the Chan Nations Cup, which is just between home-based players. The second leg is in Abuja, but it's not looking good for the Chan Eagles. But I'll make sure I bring an update based on how that game goes. In terms of the ones to watch for this week, or weekend, so to speak, Kevin Akpogma's Hoffenheim play Dortmund away tonight. Friday night, that should be a tasty game. Rafael Oyedika's potential debut for Club Brugge, which could be against Cercle Brugge tonight, Friday night as well. Alex Iwobi's Everton play Liverpool in the Merseyside derby in the early noon kickoff tomorrow on Saturday. Victor Osimhen's Napoli go away to the Olimpico to play Lazio on Saturday night tomorrow, 7:45 p.m. That should be interesting. We know Maurizio Sarri gained his reputation at Napoli, so it's interesting to see how his Lazio team will fare, especially after they beat Inter last week. And then David Okereke and Cyril Dezes Their Cremonese team plays Sassuolo at home on Sunday at 11:30 a.m. Let's see if Desus can score his first goal of the season for his new club. Terem Moffi, Lorient away against Ajaccio. Let's see if he can make it 5 goals from 3 games. And then finally, Victor Boniface, Union St Gilloise, plays Zulte Waregem away on Sunday night. So that's it for this episode of the podcast. One thing to please call out is if you listen to this podcast on streaming platforms like Spotify or Apple Podcasts, your ratings will be much, much appreciated. Please rate this podcast what you feel. Obviously, a 5-star will be appreciated, but you're also entitled to be as honest as possible. But it will be much appreciated and would help us to get found by more potential football lovers. Please remember to subscribe to the podcast and the YouTube channel, which is Nigeria Football Weekly. Continue to spread the word. Our social media channels are at NFWPOD on Twitter, at Nigeria Football Weekly on Instagram, and Facebook.com/Nigeria Football Weekly. Thanks again for listening. I really appreciate every single listener. And until next time, enjoy the football over the weekend. Peace out. Thanks for watching this video. Please like, share, subscribe, and click the bell to get a notification whenever we drop a video. You can also find our social media channels listed below. And of course, up Super Eagles and Nigeria no dey ever carry last.